All right, so the very last step here before you turn in your project is we need to do what's called validating our HTML. And really it is almost like a spell check, but there are a bunch more kind of issues around validating your HTML. And the short version is if we validate our HTML, it doesn't necessarily guarantee it's going to look correctly on all browsers and all devices, but it's the first step in terms of making sure it's a little bit of a future proofing, and it's going to work on all different browsers and different devices. So it works on desktops, laptops, mobile phones, projectors, all that kind of stuff, if we write it correctly. And to do that, to check things, and we should have written things correctly, but to check it, the very last step on the Canvas assignment, when I flip over here, is validating your HTML. So there's a link to the W3C's validator. And they essentially write the standards for HTML that we can check things against. So if we go to our URL, right, and copy it, and then paste it in the address field here, and check it, we should get everything's good, and we're going to get a warning that talks about language, but we don't have to worry about that. Right? So everything's good. If you get like a red box or anything other than a warning, we want to make sure we check those. So things like not including an alt attribute in your HTML for your images, or not closing CSS rules properly, that sort of thing. Now, if you do get other errors, it's sometimes a little bit cryptic, in terms of what it's talking about. So what I'd recommend is checking show source and then check it again. And what that does is it's going to highlight the line in your HTML that that you need to pay attention to, right? So if you didn't include an alt text, it would highlight this line right here, line 12, for us, and say, you don't have alt text, so make sure you have that for all your images, kind of thing. Okay, so it's just to kind of just check for errors, make sure everything's correctly written in your HTML. It's almost like a grammar and spell check for your HTML, which comes in pretty handy when we get into something called troubleshooting a little bit later down the road. Okay, so once you have it validated, again, the warning's okay, but once you have it validated, all you need to do then is take that same URL and paste it. If for some reason it didn't validate, you do need to jump back into brackets, make your changes, go back into create UNL and re-upload your files, and then validate it again to make sure everything's correct. Okay, and then once you have everything correct, you just take that URL and turn that into Canvas for the Web Module 1. And then we should have something that looks like this for your Web Module 1. And Web 2 will essentially pick up where we left off here and add more CSS to look at, to have it look more like a website that you see online commonly now. Okay,